Let's start with you, because I know what you're about to say is going to make me infuriated and it's going to be utterly insufferable. These are two crests that carry images of sailboats. It's got nothing to do with slavery or racism.
If that's your opinion, then you're entitled to have it.
It's a fact.
Don't even give her a chance to finish her. It's a fact. Wow, this is the first time I've seen Piers Morgan like this. So these guys are debating of whether or not ships with a P are racist.
为什么 ship 是 racist?
I'm guessing their logic is like because 因为奴隶是从非洲要上船才过去嘛，对吧? So they're thinking, well, this ship is a racist symbol of oppression. It represents black people going from Africa to America and to the UK on ships. They were forced.
And the historians are being asked to look into that, because when you tell us about history and how important history is, what we want to do is to ensure that we have got this right and we are going to grow from this experience.
It's like we need to ask historians to use their resources to look into history and find out, are ships really racist? This type of thinking is actually really entitled. Kind of reminds me of, you remember that last video we did about the homegirl dancing in Target? And man, we had a fan who in the Lillian, he was like, I'm not trying to be racist, but you kind of sound like a slave, yo. You know how like when white people enslave black people and they oppress them? Yeah. Well, now that black people are robbing and doing all sorts of flash mob and committing crimes and stuff, now things are equal. And the comments roasted him hard to the point where he deleted that comment. He was like, oh,
我们来不及截图
nothing to see here. Home Dude in the comments, along with these two ladies here, are part of a group I like to call entitled victimhood, yo.
It sounds like my SSS girlfriend.
Sounds like a lot of ex-girlfriends.
And we are going to grow from this experience.
Yeah, I'm not growing from it. I'm growing
to deny it.
I am growing from this experience. I'm growing very annoyed.
Why are we annoyed?
Let me tell you why.
Let
me tell you why.
Talk about slavery.
No, I'm not worried about that. I thought slavery.
I thought about World War I or World War II.
Like, you know,
because it happened in the past, dog.
Right.
And yes, World War I, World War II, they happened. They were horrible events. But you don't hear people saying, hey, because of World War II, bombs are racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's saying that. But you can't take slavery and pull that up for every single thing, especially for a boat, dude. I like boats. Does that make me racist?
Yeah, I like sushi.
Yeah.
No boat, no sushi.
Imagine that. You have no boats, you have no Amazon, you have no sushi, you have no iPhone.
I thought slavery was disgusting, and I'm very, very glad that everyone came around to their senses it was disgusting, and that Britain actually led the way in ending the damn thing. Of course I do. Slavery was disgusting. However, it turns out the historians say Manchester didn't adopt ships as an emblem until 1842.
Wow.
35 years after the abolition of slavery.
So this controversy started because Manchester United, which is an English football team, they decided to change their emblem to a ship.
So they would have had nothing to do with it.
And how do we know that? We don't know that. So what you are taking one understanding of a situation.
So you're believing the historians that suit your narrative?
It's not what I believe, Piers. Let's be clear about this. We're having a debate, and that's what is important.
Whoa. Hey, first of all, we gotta give her props. She's not being disrespectful. She's very enlightened and very polite. Yeah. So that's good, but homegirl, you gotta stick to the facts. Like, it's not a debate. It actually is what happened. Slavery ended at this period. There were boats during slavery. There were boats after slavery. And there's still boats now.
It's to be able to have a debate about something that happened in history.
We should be looking at little pictures of ships on a footballer's crest bag. Who cares?
The players at Manchester City and Manchester United, those who advocate show racism in the red card.
No, here's what's going to happen.
They will care about it.
Here's what's going to happen. The Guardian, which has just been caught with its racism trousers down, right, because it turned out they were founded by a bunch of slave owners.
Oh, yeah, so The Guardian is actually a very extremely left-wing woke newspaper, in the UK. And it turns out it was started by slave owners, dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they're the last people on earth to be lecturing about
this. Is that
this.
right? Aren't they the right people?
No, they're not. They're not. Because I found
So her logic is like, they're the right people to talk about it, because you know how like when drug dealers and criminals come to your school and say, hey, don't do drugs are bad, look at me, right? Yeah. So she's trying to say that the slave owner's like, hey, slavery is wrong, don't do slaves, look at me.
I did it before. That's 船也可以呀、那为什么船不行
Seriously.
？Hey, come on the boat because I do the same boat.
It's like, hey, when you get on the boat, it's all saved. Just black people, be careful.
I found the hand-wringing over that utterly ridiculous. I'll tell you why.
They've apologised.
Every single family in Britain, if you go back far enough, you'll have people in their past, hundreds of years ago, who employed slaves, almost certainly.
Yep.
And therefore,
We know that was wrong then. Why should everybody today who had nothing to do with it think it was all terrible spend their entire time apologising for it?
I actually feel the same way, because the thing is like every race, every group of people in the history of the planet has been enslaved. And it actually wasn't until the West was like, hey, maybe it's not a good idea, that people actually thought, hey, maybe it's not such a good idea. Before then, everyone was like, yo, it's economy, yo, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That was their DHL, literally.
And therefore we know that was wrong then. Why should everybody today who had nothing to do with it think it was all terrible spend their entire time apologising for it?
it's about education.
Oh, no.
Just education. We always rewrite history. We rewrote World War II. We have a different World War II than a kid now because we found out about Bletchley. So we are getting more intelligent.
Knowing history doesn't make you more intelligent, it just makes you know more. She said that they kind of airbrush or overpainted what really happened, but the thing is, every country does that. It's not right, but every country kind of airbrushes their history, dog. That's called PR.
And the other thing, the United Kingdom was actually on the side of the Confederacy during the Civil War, and in fact was going to send a ship to the Confederacy to fight for it when it was stopped and
Who's
boarded
going to-
by Lincoln
okay.
and paid an indemnity to
Who
the
is
United
going to-
States.
Okay, so back then, the UK was on a little bit on the wrong side of history. You know what else is on the wrong side of history? A lot of the slaves who fought in the South for the South because they believed that slavery was better for them.
Oh, really?
They were also on the wrong side of history, dog. People make mistakes, and a 400-year mistake should not be holding someone accountable for something that happened 40 years ago, dog. It's like when you get an argument with a bad girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's like, you remember that thing you did in 2017 where you said that girl's butt looked better than mine? You're like, huh? Which girl?
Who is going to pay me
Yes.
and my family reparations for what the Vikings did to us? Who's going to?
Explore it.
Stick it out.
So literally,
Take us.
so we go back over every invasion,
Okay.
every
You hear? She said, educate them. Educate them. Go to Iceland and Denmark and be like, hey guys, that was wrong what you did to Piers Morgan's family. Say sorry. And they're like, my bad.
bad
is what-
thing.
and this
Hang
is what
on,
upsets me.
Let me finish.
It is the
Let's try and have a
ideology of
conversation.
denial.
No, it's not.
Ideology of denial.
I'm not denying anything happened.
No one's denying it.
No, what I'm saying is once you start this woke rampage, there is no end. A bit like the statues of historical figures. They're all, guess what? Oh, hang on, let me finish. Ladies, give me a moment. All historical figures are flawed. You can find flaws in Mandela,
True.
in Gandhi, and
Yep.
Churchill. It's why they had to be boarded up, their statues at Parliament Square, so the mob didn't attack them.
Yes.
But if we take this route, everything, all the time, we have to be apologizing, paying for.
But
Why? Why does that move us on?
What's wrong with an apology? Nothing is wrong with that.
But people have apologized already. I mean, for American slavery, don't get me wrong, there's still slavery that goes on today, right now. And they ain't apologizing. But for the slavery that happened before, people apologize already, dog.
If you,
I'm very sorry that hundreds of years ago people behaved.
It's not anything to do with hundreds of years. We acknowledge it. We always do that. That is what history.
Why should footballers have to remove crests
It's not-
that contain images of ships, which according to many historians were adopted as an emblem 35 years after slavery was abolished?
Well, it was abolished, but it wasn't over. Okay, and that.
Are all ships racist?
We don't know that, but we need to.
Are all ships?
Wait, he says, are all ships racist? And she's like, we don't know that. That means I need to be careful the next time I get on a boat? Dude, it's like, I just came here to go fishing. Now y'all telling me I might get involuntarily transported.
Racist.
We need to investigate it. Why not? What's wrong with that?
We need to investigate it. Wow. Could you imagine? It's like you get on a boat to go on a cruise, and some dude comes out, it's like, wait, 要来检查种族歧视检查这个船有没有种族歧视？为什么这边是白色，这边是黑色的？这是代表白人的要坐在前面吗？ Ridiculous.
And you know what it is? Here's what it is. It's exhausting.
Well, that's different.
Honestly,
If it's
this
exhausting,
woke
it's different.
mentality is so exhausting. I feel myself literally getting tired.
I'm talking about being exhausted. It's the exhaustion of the pursuit of knowledge.
Let me bring it.
Wait, so she's saying 你很累是因为你在学东西了. This is super entitled. They believe that because their ancestors were oppressed, they are entitled to dictate to people what is and what is not racist. Nah, this is totally wrong, yo.
Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus.
I'm under attack.
Hotel Jesus, that'd be awesome.
Hotel Jesus.
Be like, welcome. Enjoy your stay, but for only 3 days. Christians are gonna get mad at me for that one.
I think slavery was horrific. I just don't understand the point of this constant series now of recriminations, reparations, apologies, guilt trips, and so on. I don't know what point it served.
I worked at a tech company once, and we know how rife they are with leftism. In casual conversation in the office, I said, I want to be a national master in chess one day. And this white girl said to me, don't you feel offended that they used the term master in the title?
What he's trying to say is the white girl was like, hey, don't you feel oppressed or offensive because the word master and just master, just like slave is to master? It's always the extreme left that find that stuff out, right? The first ones to point it out. His face, that's not a hair on Woodhouse, that's a hair on Sasha.
I just looked at it like, that thought never crossed my mind. The same thing if I were to go to the harbor and I would see a ship. Our educational system, our upbringing has tied us to this travesty in human history and made us want to identify with, instead of identifying with richer parts of our history.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Home did in the comments, right? Yeah. He's just a black guy talking on the YouTube, and he's like, slave, because that's the only thing he sees, or he or she sees me as. Right?
Actually, there's a comment that, hey, 他真的在教黑人怎么当黑人。
Now, here's the issue that this comes down to. Women are going to see the world, frankly, different from men. Women are very emotional. So, of course...
Oh! Yo, we were on board with you until you hit that iceberg, yo. Abandoned ship.
No shit.
Abandoned ship. I can't swim, but I'll figure it out.